Our story starts with Mr. Henderson, an 85-year-old gentleman who lived alone in the house next door. He was a quiet, polite widower who always waved when I collected the mail, but lately, I'd noticed a change. He seemed withdrawn, his garden, once his pride and joy, was overgrown, and his paid caretaker, Sarah, always seemed stressed, rushing in and out of the house with barely a glance. I often overheard her talking sharply on her phone outside, and I started to develop a deep, sickening suspicion. I feared Mr. Henderson, who had no family nearby, was being neglected, maybe even taken advantage of. It was a terrible thought, but I felt a responsibility. I was his only neighbor who paid attention. After 2 weeks of internal debate, I decided I had to know the truth. I purchased a small, motion-activated camera, disguised it cleverly as a clock radio, and placed it discreetly in his living room, with his cautious but trusting permission, telling him I was testing a new home security system for him. The anxiety over the next week was immense. Every time I saw Sarah's old sedan pull up, my stomach twisted. I was ready to call Adult Protective Services the moment I saw evidence of mistreatment. Finally, Friday arrived, and I retrieved the camera, my hands shaking. I sat down that night, poured a cup of tea, and loaded the footage, bracing myself for the worst, the cold, hard proof of neglect. The first few hours of footage confirmed my bias. Sarah seemed curt, she rushed through his lunch, she sat on the couch checking her phone, and she barely engaged with him beyond functional needs. Then came the moment I had been waiting for, the moment she was supposed to be doing the evening medication round. I saw her hand Mr. Henderson his pills and a glass of water, then she leaned down, checking his pulse, her face serious and unsmiling. This was the cold, professional indifference I expected, but then, instead of leaving, she did something strange. She walked quickly to the coat closet, opened it, and disappeared inside. I thought, aha. This is it. She's calling someone to complain, or worse, maybe she's stashing something. I fast-forwarded the clock. She stayed inside that closet for 5 long minutes. When she emerged, her eyes were red, but she had quickly wiped them, and she took a deep, shaky breath before walking back into the living room. Mr. Henderson was dozing in his chair. Sarah didn't wake him. Instead, she knelt beside his chair, and I watched, stunned, as she slowly, meticulously, and with the utmost tenderness, repaired a tear in the sleeve of his favorite old wool cardigan, stitching it by hand with supplies she must have brought from home. She wasn't neglecting him, she was protecting a cherished item. The next clip showed the real twist. She went back into the coat closet later that evening. This time, I heard faint, muffled sobs. I watched the timestamp and saw her pull out her phone, dialing a number. She whispered into the phone, "It's okay, baby, Mommy has another shift tomorrow. Just stay strong. I love you." That was when it hit me, Sarah wasn't indifferent, she was terrified. She was working 16-hour days, possibly caring for a sick child at home, using the only private space she could find, a coat closet, to fall apart for 5 minutes before putting on her armor and returning to care for Mr. Henderson with quiet, professional dignity. Her curtness wasn't contempt, it was exhaustion. Her focus on her phone wasn't distraction, it was the lifeline to her own crisis. I stopped the footage. My shame was immense. I had been ready to ruin this woman's career based on a superficial assessment of her emotional state, not realizing she was fighting a battle I couldn't see. The resolution came the next morning. I drove to Mr. Henderson's house before Sarah arrived and waited for her. I showed her the footage from the coat closet, my voice thick with emotion, and apologized profusely. She burst into tears, explaining that her son was in the hospital and every penny she made went toward his care, forcing her to take multiple jobs, leaving her with no energy left for smiles. That day, we didn't just fix a misconception, we built a community. I set up a GoFundMe for her son that went viral, and I started helping Mr. Henderson with his garden and errands, giving Sarah a small break. The neglect I had feared was actually a woman drowning, yet still finding the strength to be kind and dedicated to her elderly charge. The truth the hidden camera exposed wasn't a crime, it was a story of invisible struggle and profound grace. So, what is the message here? It's simple: the most important things in life are always the things you can't see. Before you judge someone's attitude or their rushed pace, remember there might be a coat closet, a hidden place, where they are fighting a battle you know nothing about. Kindness isn't always easy, and it doesn't always wear a cheerful smile. Sometimes, it looks like a tired, brave person quietly showing up, doing the right thing, and saving their tears for a moment when they're alone. I learned a huge lesson that day about looking deeper. If you've ever felt misunderstood or if this story inspires you to look past the surface, please share it. Let me know in the comments below, what's one thing you saw today that made you think about the hidden struggles people face? Thank you so much for watching, for liking, and for being part of this community. I'll catch you in the next video, and remember to be kind, always.